This is the Music Ed Mentor Podcast, where we teach music educators how to manage and grow thriving school music programs and have long and happy careers. This is episode 32, and I am your host, Elisa Jansen-Jones. I am absolutely thrilled you are listening to this episode because we are going to be talking about one of the number one things you can do to improve your teaching, your career, and your life. This episode is all about self-care, holistic wellness, and implementing the best practices in your life to create a sustainable career and lifestyle. This is something that seems to come up over and over again in music education circles, so much so that I'm afraid it's becoming a cultural norm for us. Those of us who gravitate to a career in music education tend to have similar personality types. Honestly, I've never met another music educator I can't get along with, and I'm willing to bet you feel the same way. We're just compatible. We're all giving, loving people. Unfortunately, we also tend to be a little on the self-sacrificing side, and it seems like more and more the pressures and complexities of our jobs are getting the better of us. I saw 3 different posts on Facebook just the other day from music educator friends of mine where they were bragging about having been at school for 14 hours that day. I only saw one friend of mine post that she was out treating herself to a fancy meal. And I'm talking, this was only on my timeline, not even a dedicated music education group. Have we forgotten to take care of ourselves? Have we reached the point where we feel better about ourselves the more we sacrifice to our career? Do we honor music educators who have lost health and wealth and even sacrificed marriages and relationships because of their dedication to their job in music education? Yes, we do have complex and challenging jobs. We also have amazing and wonderful opportunities and experiences. But how do we combat this cultural norm of self-sacrificing and replace it one with self-care? What can we do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis to ensure we're nurturing ourselves and improving our teaching practice at the same time? Are there little things we can do, or does it have to be a big commitment and shift in our lifestyle and complete paradigm? Well, we address these questions in this episode, and to help me, I've brought on my friend and co-author, Fernando Penaloza. Fernando is in the throes of his career as well. He just started his 4th year of teaching and took on a robust high school program 1 week before band camp started, and he still had time to talk to me on the podcast. He's a newlywed and just received his master's degree from Messiah College as well. We'll be tapping into not only his experience and mine experience in our careers and lives, but the results of several recent surveys that explore music teacher burnout and how to avoid it. But first, this episode could not be made possible without the generosity of Smart Music. We recently collaborated on a webinar for this exact topic, 7 strategies for self-care to prevent burnout. So if you missed it, be sure to subscribe to the Smart Music YouTube channel to get notified when the replay becomes available. It's probably available now. We'll have a link for you in the show notes for this episode too. This episode is also brought to you by Quaver Music. Have you heard about Quaver Music? Teachers around the world are talking about the engaging content and easy-to-use customization platform at quavermusic.com. With Quaver in your teaching toolbox, you'll have access to over 6,500, that's 6,500 interactive resources for teacher and student use. The content is all standards-based, engaging and fun for students, and makes the most of whatever technology is in your classroom already. You don't need one-to-one iPads for this. Quaver also offers a powerful platform for launching your own custom lessons, allowing you to combine resources from any source and sequence the learning in your classroom to suit your needs. Created with music teachers in mind, Quaver incorporates different pedagogies and strategies, such as Kodai, ORF, music learning theory, and more, offering you a variety of resources that fit your teaching style. Quaver resources also include an interactive song catalog of more than 1,200 songs and growing, with songs from all genres. Their song library is packed with thousands of song-based activities that focus on solfege, rhythm and pitch recognition, instrument playing, movement and dance, and more. Try Quaver's supercharged music education tools in your classroom completely free for 30 days. Visit quavermusic.com/musicedmentor to begin exploring Quaver today. Now, let's get to my discussion with Fernando. First, I let him introduce himself a little bit.
Hi there. My name is Fernando Penaloza. I teach music and high school music in Southern California, in the city of Anaheim, to be specific. And I'm excited to be on this podcast.
So, Fernando and I sort of met in a Facebook group in this discussion about what kinds of things music educators, especially those new to the profession, should be doing to ensure continuous improvement. He has this great list of things, from recording yourself to bringing in a mentor and a bunch of other things that I really hadn't thought of. So I started thinking about it and came to the conclusion that there's actually a short list of things we can be doing on a regular basis. Some daily, some we could benefit from weekly, and some we only need to do once a month. We worked together to better quantify these sort of checklist items and decided they really are the best practices for music educators who want to be better teachers, have a better career, and ensure a better lifestyle. I'll let Fernando talk about how he came up with this list and what some of the best practices are.
Well, I think first of all, as we started to just mold this book and really organize the why and the how and all the sections and sort of put everything in place, I think we came up with ideas on practices that would be broken up into daily, weekly, monthly, and perhaps just ongoing, and the ongoing being more sort of long term. And I think so. Some of my original thoughts that I just put down on paper when I was first brainstorming all of this included things like um, just video recording our rehearsals or our concerts um, pretty often, so that we get some feedback for ourselves and for our students. I think that in my experience, when I have shown our rehearsal and or performance videos to the students, it gives us something very tangible to just go off of, and we can use that as a way to sort of gauge our growth and gauge where we stand in terms of like where did we come from, where did we start, and we have something to compare and contrast to, at the end of the semester or by our next concert or whatever that may be. So it gives us these tangible points along the way throughout the school year that will help us measure our growth or improvement, or not. And we ask ourselves, did we meet our goal for the week, or did we really do what we said we were going to do? Did we sound the way we thought we did? And it just gives, and the students really enjoy this. They enjoy watching their own performances or their own rehearsals. And believe it or not, once the students are trained enough to know what to look for, what to listen for, um, once you give them a representation of what we are after and what quality and level of standard we are aiming for, um, they are actually pretty harsh critics on themselves, and they know, when they messed up, or this didn't sound good, and they start kind of sort of critiquing each other, and hey, this sounded out of tune, and this wasn't together, and it was too loud, or it wasn't played with good intonation or good tone or whatever that may be. And I think it's a great way to build students' ears and to just continue to help them just develop. And again, that was one of the things I first put down and suggested. One of the other things was just having, I guess, the vulnerability for ourselves to bring somebody in and help watch or observe our rehearsals. I think it's important, and it gives a sort of an outsider perspective, and we can bring in somebody that, of course, we feel comfortable coming in and watching and observing us teach, and then perhaps giving us some feedback and some constructive criticism to in terms of how we can continue to improve our own teaching, perhaps give us some new ideas on teaching strategies, and just whatever. I mean, you can tailor this however you want. I've had my some of my mentors who I still ask to come and just either watch it or observe a rehearsal for the purposes of just observing me. And again, they don't necessarily come and work with my group. Sometimes, if I specifically ask for, hey, can you just come and watch, and observe how I'm doing on classroom management, or observe my conducting technique, or observe my rehearsal strategies, and that sort of thing. So that's how I've sort of tailored it. And then, of course, I've also had them come in to actually work with my students, for a rehearsal, or give a clinic workshop with my students as we're preparing for a concert or whatever that may be. But I think having that sort of just outsider, somebody from the outside, just come in, a mentor that you trust, or a colleague that you trust and you feel comfortable, like, hey, help me get better, help me improve. Because I think when we put ourselves in that position, we are opening ourselves only for great things to just continue to improve for ourselves, which will then positively affect the improvement and growth of our own students. So for me, I think those were two of the big points that came to my mind when I was first starting to just brainstorm about this. And then the third one I want to share is one that I think has to do with uh, as I was later on thinking about this, I decided to actually create a survey on the social media, like music teacher, band director pages, and actually posted it on several of these pages that I'm a member on. And so the the point is really about continuing our, and this is more on the long term side of things, just the ongoing, continuing to always develop ourselves as educators, as people, and just things like attending live performances, live concerts, perhaps being a part of a performing group, or playing sort of these, as many gigs, whether paid or not, just to keep our playing chops going, attending workshops, conferences, and any of that stuff, to just sort of keep our chops up as educators, as conductors, as musicians, because I think that's important. And based on the results of the survey that I put together, with, I think it was just about 10 questions, my findings were that, of course, it's not that I thought music educators in the first place didn't think these types of things are important. I was just more gauging on how much, on average, we actually do these things, because I think we know that they are important, and we truly believe in these things. We even encourage our students. I do it myself, like try to get them out to go out to live performances and watch, like the LA Phil for us over here, or go out and do this, just expose them to as much live music as possible. So I think that we know that, and we understand the value in that. But sometimes, of course, we get so caught up, with just everything we've got to do, in our jobs, and there's always so much to do, and I get it. There's, it can be stressful, and we've got a giant laundry list of just things we've got to get done for our programs and whatnot, and it just seems like the work is never ending. But I think regardless, it's important for us to try to find some way for us that works individually to just make that happen for us continually, so that we ourselves are constantly filling our palate with those things, in our ears and in our hearts and our minds, to just continue to allow us to continue to be effective educators in the classroom, and to continue to bring those real life experiences back to our students into the classroom. So those are, I think, for me, three of the big points that came to mind when I was just brainstorming these ideas.
So we decided it's really easily broken down into two lists: the things we have to do, this big task list, right? And then there's the list of things we need to do to make sure we can handle the task list. In other words, it's what to do and how to do it. We break it down into easy steps so you can implement it in your own life. It's little things at first, and then you grow to bigger stuff as you're ready. A lot of our survey work revealed that not only are people in music education reaching the point of burnout due to the anxiety and stress of the job, but also by something I really hadn't considered before: being stagnant. My dad, who our regular listeners have already heard way too much about, is a lifelong music educator and even now mentors student teachers. And he used to love to point out that teaching music is way better than teaching any other subject because we can learn and grow and develop and change. We get to pick new music every year. We get to try new method books if we want. We can set goals for ourselves, for our classrooms, for our students. We aren't tied to a textbook like so many other teachers are, teaching the same thing on the same day, year after year after year. Now, I realize that that's an exaggeration, but the point remains the same. We can't just stymie growth and expect to feel happy. That's not how we are as people. The music educators with the longest and happiest careers are those that develop and change over the time, that take on projects and have passions and move forward with things and reach goals. It's not just a job with a paycheck where you check in and check out every day and pick it up at the end of the week. It's something so much more. By implementing these best practices, we can embrace that aspect of our job. The other issue we hear about a lot when it comes to burnout is this idea of work-life balance. This is kind of a personal pet peeve of mine because I don't believe there is such a thing as balance. And so by looking for it, you're just going to be more frustrated than ever. I advocate for this idea that our life is full of seasons of ebb and flow. There are times when we have to focus more on our job, like at the beginning of the year, or in December when we have 5 holiday concerts to put on, or at festival time when we're taking 6 ensembles to 10 different festivals. There are also times when we will focus less on work, like when we're getting married or purchasing a new home, having a child, or caring for a sick loved one. There are also times when our hobbies might take more of our time and attention as well. Fernando agreed with me and had this to say in addition.
Yeah, I agree. I think there are times where, something might require maybe a little more attention than usual, and whatever that may be in our lives, whether it's personal or work or whatever. But I think it's being able, like you said, to just pull back after that and just realize, okay, I don't need to be giving that much focus on this task or whatever. Now I can sort of step back a little bit and just kind of enjoy all of it, like as a whole. And I think it's for me, of course, and I think for most of us or all of us, I think being able to spend time with family and loved ones and friends, I think that's important, and we value that. And sometimes I think we don't get enough of that, and for me, that helps me just recharge, and just when I get home, or I'm able to, like, spend some time with my wife or my family and friends, and just sort of get away from everything else, from work or this or that. And I think it's important, whatever we do, that we are also truly in that moment, whether we're spending time with family or we're spending time with friends, or we're rehearsing or we're doing this or that, whatever we may be doing, that we're truly in the moment, as you said, so that we're enjoying what we're doing in that particular moment, and we don't start feeling disconnected, or we don't start feeling stagnant. But I think in terms of just a balance, I think it's a life balance, not so much about just work and sort of work personal, but I think it's just exactly just a way to help us enjoy everything and be everything, and be able to just participate in everything fully, to the fullest extent, and then so that we are truly enjoying the moment, enjoying that task, enjoying whatever we're doing, and just getting the most out of it as well for ourselves. Because I think that's when we feel that sense of fulfillment. It's just when we really truly are enjoying what we're doing, to the full capacity, without feeling that sense of just being overwhelmed.
We then talk about the importance of mindfulness, not just being reactive to what's happening around us, but to take moments out of every day, every class, to look around us and appreciate where we are. Look at those kids. Like the other day, I was teaching kindergarten, and the class was challenging. I've been under the weather, so I didn't have my normal pep and vigor for the class. I told the kids we would just sing a song, then do a dance. Sing a song, then do a dance. And since I was feeling kind of low energy, they would have to bring all the energy to the class. One kid raised his hand immediately and said that he could sing a song. He could sing "The Devil Went Down to Georgia." I just stared at him, deadpan for a second, and then I said, "Awesome, show us." He then sang the first verse perfectly of "The Devil Went Down to Georgia." In that moment, I couldn't have been happier with where I was, sick and nasty as I was feeling, extreme classroom issues going on. But it was cute kids who all love music. They were just so full of joy to be there. I turned the first song on and they couldn't hold still. Even sick as a dog, I was so devoted to this job. Fernando had a few things to add as well.
And I think just maybe one more thing I want to add sort of to that is just that it's okay to say no sometimes to some things, whether it be at work or just anything. I think that's an important thing for me personally that I've had to learn over the years because I remember when I was in undergrad and just, trying to go to school full time, and I was, trying to make some time and balance for friends and family and just having fun and having a social life. And then I was also, teaching already. I was doing like some private lessons, or I would be sort of on music staff for several local high schools during the fall season and whatnot. So um, I that's where I was first really got a taste of like, sort of the adult real life world kind of thing. And it was hard for me because I was trying to take on so much, and I was trying to say yes to everything because from my perspective at that point, I said, well, I'm a student. I'm trying to soak everything up as much as I can. And I can't say no to stuff. It's like if an opportunity comes up, I have to say yes to everything. And so I remember there came a point where I just broke down because I just emotionally and mentally, because it was just, I had so much going on in my life and I was trying to do everything, and, my school responsibilities and then teaching and then this and that. And I had to just sort of go back to the drawing board and take a step back and really evaluate for myself what was really important for me, and sort of go back and create just put everything in a priority list that would better serve me, because I felt like I wasn't being effective in everything that I was doing. I was just sort of going through the motions just because I had to get, X thing done, and because I had the responsibility to get whatever task I had to do, and I just had to get it done. But I really wasn't, as I said, in the moment. I wasn't really engaged mentally, emotionally. I was just sort of just trying to power through stuff. So that for me has been a very valuable and important lesson, and just learning to say no sometimes is okay. Um, and the second thing is just being able to delegate, delegate things. And like now in my position, I have, a parent booster who are fantastic. And so I think, sometimes just working together with them as a team, or working with the music staff and their visual staff and our color guard and drumline staff. And I think that's important to just have that open communication with them, and just being able to delegate things here and there so that I don't feel like I'm having to do everything. And I think when you do that, believe it or not, people feel value, like they're part of the team, because they feel engaged in the whole process. They feel engaged in what we're doing, because they feel like they're valued. And hey, I need you. I need your help. I need your expertise. I need your knowledge, whatever that may be. And would you mind helping us with this? Or the kids, the students too. They love just helping out and being involved. So I think just those two things also are very, very important for our own sake, our own sanity.
I love that Fernando brought up bringing in helpers and delegating. It reminds me that when we ask people to serve us, it doesn't mean that we can't do it ourselves. It means that we're being good managers. And often it's giving them the opportunity to feel valued, to feel like they're part of something greater than themselves. That's true whether it's parents or volunteers or students in our classroom. Give them the chance to serve, and it creates in them a devotion for you and for your program. So it's actually a really good thing and doesn't reflect on your management skills at all. One of the greatest ways to help develop leadership in your students is to give them opportunities to serve. It can even turn around bad classroom management by asking them to do more instead of just being passive participants. We really just need to realize that we're on a journey in this thing. We are the journey. We don't need to just take what we're given and be reactive to every situation. We can be proactive about our own wellness, about our own self-care, and about our own growth. I let Fernando give some final words.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I think, just there's no one size fits all approach, and I'm a strong believer in that. And I think it's just up to us, and like you said, in our journey to just find what works for us, find what works for our students, for our programs, because all of our situations are unique with our students and our programs, and of course, the things in our lives are unique. But nonetheless, let's try to find ways to really be fully engaged and enjoying every moment, enjoying the process of it together with our students, because I think it's truly a blessing for me, at least. I think it's a blessing to get to do what I do on a daily basis, to go and share my love and passion for music with my students, and I think that's where the real for me, like where it's at and what it's about. So enjoy the process, enjoy the music making and music sharing with your students. And I think when your heart is in the right place, everything just kind of eventually falls in place, so yeah.
I believe that we can change the culture in music education from one where we are esteemed as the downtrodden to one where we are the heroes. It all comes down to our own attitude. We can't change anything about other people, and we often can't change anything about our situation, but we can change our thoughts and attitudes about it, and our willingness to apply best practices to our profession and to our lives so that we can truly thrive in our life. If you'd like to start implementing some of the things we talk about in this episode, you can check out our new book, Best Practices for Music Educators, co-authored by myself and Fernando. You can find it on my blog website, professionalmusiceducator.com, or look it up on Amazon. Special thanks again to Smart Music, and be sure to subscribe to the Smart Music YouTube channel for all of their awesome training videos, tips for success in your classroom, and for the replay of our recent webinar collaboration, all about strategies for staving off burnout. Thanks again to Quaver for supporting this episode, as well as the International Music Education Summit. To learn more about the summit, go to musicedsummit.org. It is a 100% online professional development conference for music educators around the world. Apply to present a session and learn about how your ensemble could be featured in a summit live stream event. Finally, my friends, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, give us that sweet 5-star rating, and share with your like-minded music educator friends. Join us next time for another full episode of practical advice for managing and growing your school music program and developing a career you love. Keep doing the awesome work that you do and keep living the good life.